got a pretty good question in the comments. The question was, what happens if you're out there gangbanging and you hit somebody, or you do something to somebody who has family that are incarcerated? One. The person also asked, and what happens if you hit somebody who's related to somebody who is somebody, right? So, first of all, let's answer the second part first. If you're out there gangbanging and you happen to do something to somebody who's related to somebody, I mean, I think that's self-explanatory, right? You will be whacked in the county jail every opportunity. Before you even hit the pin, before you even hit the joint, you'll definitely know that you're a persona non grata. And here's my thing. There's going to be people that are going to say, well, that's kind of messed up. The guy who's related to somebody has an advantage. You damn right he does. He has a hell of an advantage. Now, what's supposed to happen is this. If somebody starts gangbanging and they're related to someone, believe me, people know who that person's mom is, who that person's dad is, who if you're a rival to that neighborhood, you know, hey, don't mess with that family. And any boys born into that family, if they wind up being from that neighborhood or any neighborhood that you don't get along with, well, shit, you just gonna have to give that guy a pass. Now, if you're gangbanging and you get into something with the neighborhood and you wind up catching a case, whether it's a body or an attempted, whatever it is, you get convicted and you go to prison. If you land on a yard with family of that individual, it's up to that individual whose family got touched how he wants to take care of it. The guy that's busted for doing something, it isn't his obligation to pursue that family member. It's up to that family member whether or not, you know, it's always tough. Like if it's your son or your brother, usually that issue is going to get pushed, right? I've always been of the mindset when I was doing my thing where gangbanging is gangbanging. You know, it's different if somebody said they went after somebody because they were related to me. That would be different. But if somebody from a rival neighborhood does something, it's hard to be like, well, you should have known better. That's my family. But there are some people who will think like that, regardless of who it is in their family, right? And when it's an issue like that, it's considered a personal. You can't go and get a piece and go stab him in his back. He's not a piece of shit. He didn't rat on nobody. He doesn't have a bad case. He just has a case against that individual's family. And so if a person wants to push the issue, they go to the person or the people that are running the yard. And they let them know, like, hey, look, Holmes, straight up, like, I got to get into it with this vato. You know, this is what he did to my family member, you know, and they'll be like, okay, cool. We're going to get at him. And they let him know, like, hey, look, Holmes, straight up, like, I got to get into it with this vato. You know, this is what he did to my family member, you know, and they'll be like, okay, cool. We're going to get at him. They'll get at that dude and they'll say, hey, look, Holmes, you got busted for this and that. Yeah. Well, you know, one of his family members are here and they want to handle that. They're going to either decide to do it in a cell up and handle it, or they do it on the yard. But that's always considered a personal. It has nothing to do with the dudes running the yard. That unless something's changed, that's how it was for decades. That's a personal issue. It doesn't have to get run by anybody. Just make sure it's nobody's getting nobody from behind. Period. Those Those things are very rare. Those things are very rare.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Frank Dicas dropping knowledge coming at you once again. A little bit of message, little bit of knowledge. Hoping everyone's having a fantastic Tuesday. I ran into this video that Johnny Ratas dropped today, and this was one of those things where you can tell this man has run out of content. So someone asked him a question on his chat. Who knows where it was, or maybe it was in the comment section of one of his videos. And he's so thirsty to put out content that he decided to answer with a video. Now, it would make sense if this was like a profound situation, but you yourself said, Ratas, just now, that this type of situation rarely happens. It rarely ever happens. And even if there was a way to know where the person is locked up, where they are, where they're at, even if they were able to find out, there's too much red tape that has to be cut for something like this to ever go down. If someone's out there living that life, it doesn't matter who their family member is. If they're the ones living that life, they're gonna end up facing some kind of consequence. Might go to jail, might get shot, might get killed. We all know that. And even though there might be some consideration over certain people, the reality is that every time that you go out there and you want to be all up in the mix, representing the neighborhood and doing all of that, you're putting yourself at risk regardless of who your family is, what their name is, and what their standing is. And you know that. This is not something that you needed to make a video on. We've been watching the last drops that you've made, and it's gotten kind of pathetic, bro. Like, straight up. You're not putting out any knowledge. You're not giving anybody anything that they could take and say, okay, this is actually a life lesson that I could learn from this guy who's seen it all. No, now you're scraping the bottom of the barrel of comments, bro, looking for content. You really need to get your shit together, fucking ratas. No, your YouTube views are going down the drain, bro. And maybe you don't care. I think you're getting money off the side somehow, and that's okay. That's cool. But as far as your content creating career, man, it's going down the drain fast. You really need to start putting some effort into this. You really need to start doing something about your content, bro. Do some research. Don't be lazy, fool. You're too fucking lazy. That's what happens. That's what happens when you drink all the time, when you're sleepy all the time, when you wake up late and you don't know what the fuck to do with your life. You're a 52-year-old man struggling to put out anything remotely interesting, educational, or entertaining, bro. And I know you've got your viewers and they will continue to rock with you. But let's be honest, bro. You don't have it in you anymore. You're no longer who you were even 2 years ago. It may be time for you to start thinking about hanging it up, bro. Seriously. Or really, really do the research, really get invested, and put out content that your people will enjoy. I feel like you're screwing your subscribers, you're scamming them, you're cheating them, and you're not doing anything for them but scam and jam. You make more money off of TikTok. That's where your heart, that's where your mind is at. And let's be real. It may be the last straw for you to continue to make money off of the internet. With having said that, man, I hope everybody realizes that this is the type of thing that happens when you start losing the idea of what you wanted to do in the first place. Good luck, man. Seriously. You got some shit that you gotta get together in your life. You really need to stop drinking. You really need to focus. You really need to get in shape. Get it together, man. It's sad. You're really going out sad. This is the type of content that you think is going to reconquer your viewers? I don't think so, bro. Peace.
Who